very often we look at each other and we're like, what? Like, what's going on? How did this happen? Like, how are we sitting here being interviewed? It's quite humbling when you take a look back at the journey that you've been on and see where you are today. And I think being a woman of action is, I think it means many things, but it really means having integrity and walking the talk and helping others and giving back.
Trying to wake up in the morning and just doing it. Whatever it is, just do it.
Action is not only reserved to work, but action is reserved to, saying hi to your neighbor or being with my dog. Any of those little things, I believe that's action.
Woman of action means being there among the leaders and promote the image of women in leadership positions. I much prefer this concentration. Yeah. I think we're going to go for that. Woman leadership is not just something that is politically correct. It works better scientifically.
My name is Mandy Wolfe. I'm one of the owners and founders of Mandy's, and I come up with the recipes.
My name is Rebecca Wolfe. I'm a co-founder of Mandy's. I'm Mandy's sister, and I do all the branding and design for Mandy's. I was inspired in New York City by the salad craze that was going on there. I came back to Montreal and opened up a tiny salad shop in the back of my boyfriend's then clothing store. With Mandy, I wasn't very good with food, and she was incredible in the kitchen at the time, so I asked her to come up with a menu.
It was a slow burn. It wasn't fast. It's been 16 years in the making.
Cheers, baby.
My name is Nathalie Hazan, and I run a nonprofit called Raison d'Art. I'm also the creative director of Startup Fest. As I was going through life and I was working as a stylist in a fashion magazine, I was like, there needs to be more to it. And I decided to go back to school in art therapy to do my master's, and realizing that really art in all of its facets has so much to give.
My name is Livia Garzia. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Surgery, and I'm also a principal investigator in the Research Institute of the McGill University Health Center. The main interest of my research program is pediatric cancers. We know that certain patients do very well with radiation or chemotherapy after their surgery, and they're cured. However, there is a 30% of the patients that develops metastasis. So these cancers leave those sites and go somewhere else. And when they go somewhere else, they are incurable. The results of my research will allow, for example, a kid that has a metastasis to start a clinical trial with drugs that are being more effective and less toxic, and hopefully that would increase his lifespan and potentially cure these patients.
Female leadership is so important in today's world. There's been centuries where it just hasn't existed, and I just think that it's so wonderful that women are taking their power.
And I think that when women are leaders, I think that the way things operate are very different, and that they come from a little bit more of a place of compassion.
We really care.
As a pure scientist, I would say that failure and struggle is kind of normal. It's part of the process in a way. We ask really tough questions, and we try not to always believe the textbook, which makes it for a very complicated and highly prone to failure type of career.
I think that there's room for something really different that's not similar to the patriarchal way of thinking about entrepreneurship or thinking about society and economic development, the commercial value or the return on investment, but rather what is it that we can change? how can we make society better? My dad died of cancer suddenly. When you get a diagnosis, you're like, oh my God, how is that possible? And he was extraordinary, I would say. He would volunteer at Hope and Cope even before he was diagnosed. He was like, this is what I need to do. And he started this group at the Jewish General, this meditation group at the waiting room in the oncology department. And he started researching that. Everybody was like, oh wow, this is quite extraordinary. And to see the effects that it had on people, because when you're waiting, it's one of the most stressful times. It's like really awfully ironic that he should be doing this work and then he would need the care. I think the cause is important. It's such a devastating disease. And I think what ICRF is doing is great. So that's why I'm doing this.
I wish that there would be something that we could always offer even to the sickest of the patients. That is my, goal and vision. I want no one to have to hear that you're gonna go home on palliative care. To be a woman of action is kind of like to follow the steps of my mentor in my academic career for the past 2 years. And I hope to pass that over from Dr. Jabado to me to the next one next year.
My message for female entrepreneurs, female social entrepreneurs in particular, would be, don't let yourself be pinned down. Like, go for it. and break that mold and do what you need to do, because it doesn't have to exist in the way that it has been.
We have 7 children between the two of us, and it's a crazy juggling game all the time. And I think it's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful that we're both going through this together, because we don't feel as insane being working moms, and we both really value and understand the importance of work-life balance, and we give that to each other. Whatever it is, just do it. Do a small part of your list every day and then put it into action and things happen.
I like to think that I'm shifting people's perspective on a really deep level. And I hope that's what I'm doing.